Out of this major qualification here in the semi-final for the Japan League, Cyclops and Crest have been hard to split. 7-5, 7-5 on their respective map picks. They're both 1-1. Now we head to the decider. It's Clubhouse to see who goes to Atlanta. Mandy, there's a lot riding on this match now. It all comes down to a best of one.
This is really exciting, and of all the places we could go to, Clubhouse has got an all-time classic to send us to the major. Monty being banned out from Crest is a fair play, in my opinion, especially after the events that unfolded in that last match too. I think that taking away the Anaton from Monty, taking away the Monty from Anaton, I think is a great choice for Crest, and taking away the Dokubi as well is going to leave in a lot of those essential attacking operators though, right? You've got all of your anti-wall denial on the board. Not just that, you've got all of your hard breach as well on the board. So opening up this map and playing this slow game for Cyclops as they've been doing over in Chalet and even over in Nighthaven Labs is like not a bad play, especially with the attacker lineup that they've got for them.
Yep, totally agree. Valkyra's army here. Pick your poison. No, it's the Fenrir. So Crest get rid of that. That does, well, leave the two operators I just named available in this match, Mandy. So two big ones, Valk and Azami, are available here on Clubhouse, and it's such an important Clubhouse. For Crest, I mean, what an opportunity that has befallen upon them, and they've earned it themselves. I mean, a bit of a shaky group stage. They, you know, think back to open the group stage, they lost 7-2 to CAG, and they go and beat Scars, and then a very close win against Fnatic, which no disrespect to Fnatic, but you know, they had a -13 round differential, so that's not exactly like a totally fulfilling round result for Crest to just win 8-7 against Fnatic. So a bit shaky, then, you know, largely decent against Exist, and here they are now one map away from the major. So while it hasn't necessarily been a clean run, it has been a bit of a fairy tale run for this roster, and it would be their first ever major appearance if they can win this match.
All right, here we go. To kick it all off on defense for Crest, making their miracle run back for the major. We are going to go down to this basement bomb site. They are looking to extend their way up into the top floor, but not too much, of course. Opening up these hatches is going to be pretty easy with the... Okay, the friendly fire has ended, Whiskey. You can't shoot down your teammate like that. Eclair getting away with his life, but as I was saying, for Cyclops, they should make pretty quick work of the walls and of the hatches as well. We've got not just Anaton on the Hibana, but of course the EMPs in the hands of Suzu. So playing that tricking game with the Cade is going to be quite challenging for Crest, and they've actually chosen not to bring it at all.
It's Cyrenaica that draws first blood though in the semi-final. Third map, Akali falls on the Brava. And that is already, in my opinion, job done for Crest. You only need advantage. In fairness, though, player is low. But once you get that opening pick as the defense on Church Arsenal, Mandy, you don't want to get too greedy. Still lurking above. You can hold site now. The trade game is already going to be quite difficult for Cyclops when they head to site. And so I think already Crest are in a very strong position to start here on Clubhouse.
That's exactly right. If there is a bomb site that you want to get the opening pick on the attack, it is that basement, right? Even in a man advantage on a basement execute, it can still be hard to actually make that execute work because the anchor positions for the defense in the basement are actually rather strong. It can be quite challenging to clear them. A lot of them are safe from vertical pressure, for example. Eclair at the moment, without that buck being in place so far, I think that's just Chibisu above him now, is still going to try and hold on to this position for as long as he can.
90 seconds is all that remains in the round, and that's a massive pick from Anaton onto Eclair. They needed that. So that now immediately rescinds the advantage that Crest evidently had earlier. No response, choppy low. Half health for him with a Nitro Cell still available on the ward, and that's at least another bit to win condition available. And you can just sense that Crest are watching so many different angles, so many different attack options. Drone towards Pit, trying to get some information through blue. Whiskey over towards the dirt position, still has two gas babes available, and I don't believe anyone from Cyclops will be pushing in behind him. Down secret for Black Ray. 45 seconds. Every round in this match is going to be so critical.
It's going to be a kitchen hatch drop here for the attack, but Whiskey is in such a safe position. Not only is no one pressuring him from dirt, but he's even on a keep a barricade. But look at this from the attack. They're pivoting and they're going to go for a rush through the Gash Ball instead.
Suzu to get the plant down, watching Chibisu. Nice headshot onto Sireneko. Can't get the response that he was looking for. Lua can though, but the plant is now down successfully. And the flames blocking the push out from Dirt meant that Whiskey could not get involved as much as he wanted to. Lua played the Kiba barrier towards Moto, expecting response from the hatch, not to be found. Whiskey to swing. It's just a shoulder peek, and he spots the bullet. So it's up to Lua to get a lot more of the work done. Headshot, bot man, that's good. 2 versus 2, but the biggest problem of them all is the fact that Vert is the power play position for Cyclops. Whiskey needed to win that fight, and had he done so, suddenly the round was winnable. It now no longer is. Lua, even after spotting that head, can't take it clean off in kitchen. 1 versus 1, 10 seconds. Won't have time though, Mandy. Time is the biggest enemy of them all. Job done for Cyclops. What a round to start this 3rd map in the decider map to go to a major. It's an attacking round win on Clubhouse for Cyclops. The dream start.
That was an excellently measured execute, and what a way to dissect the defense as well of Crest. Cyclops realized once they reached that kitchen hatch, there is no way that we are getting the bomb down there, right? Whiskey was playing such a safe position inside of Dirt. There was no pressure going out from him, so he could chuck out those smoke babes all that he wanted to deny that kitchen hatch drop execute. And so Cyclops realized we need a plan B, and they went down the main stairs, completely utilized the back to make a really fast entry inside of the back of Arsenal, and are able to claim the round off the back of what was a very unexpected play. Crest weren't ready for that, and they're actually going to completely change their bomb site over to gym and bedroom instead. They don't want to repeat the same mistakes of that basement bomb site because they think that Cyclops have it figured out.
Yeah, I mean, perfect start really for Cyclops, considering they also lost a player early. Back the fact that Crest got that opening pick, they were able to then sit on site. 5 versus 4, Church Arsenal Club. You know, a minute left and still no real response until bang, they found one. Anderton found 3 in the round.
Attackers must locate and defuse
And this
the
is
bomb.
actually quite interesting, right? You have to ban the Montang, especially on club with Anderton in the picture. So it's a hard target ban to him. But Anderton's still a fragger. You get him on the guns and he's more than fine. I'd still rather probably take the Montang away from him because his ability to probably get rafters control, the ability to push into sight, take positions like Dirt with Montang. There's a lot that he can do on this map with the Montang, so I think it's the correct decision. But he's still a fragger at heart, and he can play the Ying as well. So don't forget about that. On the Maverick, this particular round, and it's triple hard breach from Cyclops. Bring in the triple hard breach. I imagine they'll go for a full map wide open up. They'll go Jacuzzi, they'll go Kennels. They'll start with Kennels. Obviously, it is gym bedroom from what is it gym bedroom or is it down below? I didn't actually see the
It
sign.
is gym bedroom, yeah.
Yeah, cool.
It is gym bedroom, yeah. They are trying to go for that sweep across the map. Like you said, the triple hard breach is like the sort of necessary evil here for Cyclops, right? They don't have the Monty, like you're saying, but they do have so much more available to them on the attack as a result of Crest not banning out one of these like hard breach operators, right? So here we go. The sweep is starting to come across from CAG. That is actually going to be a walk-in hole for them. So they are going to make work of this extension over into cash side.
The breach open duck does at least pose some kind of problems, but in fairness, Crest not looking to fall off too quickly. Shot in the back though, Akali. He's just been able to sneak straight into Jim. Who's watching this? Hello? Crest? That's a big entry point that no one's watching. It is still the side of Jim bedroom. You do need to defend Jim. Now he's got himself in position over towards 90. That's a wonderful swing from Whiskey. That is a round-saving kill. Because Akali was a problem deep into sight, and he's being dealt with.
That was really good for Crest to claw that one back. Not just that, but they are starting to deal with this extension push as well. Lua has just re-controlled over inside of Rafters, so the retake is starting to come through. But meanwhile, the mid-round is going back and forth for the attack. The pressure out on the balcony from Suzu has paid him dividends with only one player inside of bathroom. They're going to flood the bomb site.
Lane goes down 2 versus 2 as one. Whiskey, another big kill. That time, though, he falls short of the mark. That's fine. Suzu's got to get the plant down, and Lua's got to get moving up main stairs. Does he get there in time? Suzu, though, has time. Gets off the plant, throws out drones. Actually, one of which then immediately gets zapped anyway by the mute gem. So Suzu, fake plants, tries to bait out Lua. Lua goes towards 90, but it's all reoed off. Could go through Jim. There are footholds he can play off, and that might be his win condition here. Although just on the reinforcement, shoots out. Suzu, plant down. He knows where Lou is, though. Lou is kind of in a corner, stuck in the island of bathroom. I think that was his own demise. Didn't have too many entry points, Mandy. But unfortunately, as soon as he makes noise in bathroom, that's a pretty easy win for Suzu.
Suzu was the turning point in that round, not just through the mid round, but even through the late round as well. It was him on the balcony that got the 2 pivotal picks on the players inside of Con and inside of the bomb site that really enabled that execute to come through. As soon as those anchors went down, they jumped straight in for the bomb site and try and plan how to get this plant down. And he plays the slow game as well, right? He gets in the bomb site, but doesn't get hasty on getting that plant down. He realizes he still has 2 drones in hand. He can use that info to completely lock out where Lure was. And even though it was such a close 1 versus 1 gunfight in the end, Suzu really came out on top and was the true turning point for Cyclops.
So a 2-0 attacking start in Clubhouse. If you're a Cyclops fan, you're certainly starting to believe that you're heading back to a major. But also, if you're a Cyclops fan, you've probably been given false hope before, only to be let down somewhat, similar to what we saw on Chalet not too long before. With a 5-3 lead, Crest won the remaining 4 rounds. But it's 2 attacking rounds on Clubhouse, man. That in itself is such a big talking point. There's not many more rounds expected from Cyclops in this half. Realistically, if you look at Clubhouse in this region, it is a 69% defensive win rate. Massive. And for Cyclops to get 2 to start with, puts all the pressure now to Crest.
Not just that, but one of the attacks they won was down on the basement as well, and as it currently stands, it is very challenging to attack this particular bomb site, which I imagine is exactly why Crest have decided to return back into this. We're on board with Anaton, who's actually droning Chippers straight into the bomb site. A low 90 controls completely given away to him. A bit of a tussle in the gunfight, but eventually that trade comes out. That's not a good look on Crest.
Cyclops are just starting to get quite comfortable here in Clubhouse attacking, knowing that they have already done a large part of the job in this first half. They can play a little bit free. The 1-for-1, you deal with the Wamai though, and that's regenerative utility that's no longer going to be available. No magnets to go out. In fairness, you do lose the buck, no more skeleton key in terms of soft breach potential. And just under 2 minutes remaining, that's a very early engagement. Lots of drones still to play with for Cyclops. Where's a response now from Crest? It's at this point where certain teams will go for counter punches. They'll push up main stairs once kitchen starts to get worked on. But Crest, no one's really in a position to do so. All bunkered down, key POIs on site. No one in a position to go for a flank through Secret or through main. And speaking of Secret, Black Grey now positioned over there.
Yeah, no, this isn't one of those bomb sites where you actually want to go and play the retake. Even though you're in a man disadvantage, just like to reiterate, it's really important that you still hold on to the power positions of this bomb site because they are rather strong. And especially when the man advantage is evened up and there's so much utility that they've actually dedicated to the bomb site. Like all of their resources is on that bomb site with the Miros, with the Wamaitis and the Jaegers that are protecting it. There's not a lot that is there for them to actually support the retake and the roam. So they're choosing to stick with their plan and go for it. But here it is. There's actually a player on that hatch, so they're going to hot drop straight down into Whiskey. Okay, at the last second he decides to take the off it. Fair enough, there was a player lying in wait for him.
Such a perilous position for Whiskey. Still 2 gas babes and can still have a big say in this round. I think realistically the best thing you can do now is probably just keep flowing that opened hatch in kitchen with gas. One more available after this, so to try and deny that drop for as long as possible. Plenty of other attacking options for Cyclops, but not going to come from Arkali. Big kill from Choppy. Believe that was through dirt. Through the barricade, he finds the kill. Last gas babe was actually used towards main. So Crest have been able to close this round out. Not a lot of time here for Anaton. So Crest bite back. They win Church Arsenal. Expectations, though, to do so, Mandy. It's not as if this was a super clutch round win. It's a little bit against the tide, a little bit against the momentum of Cyclops, but it's a site you should always really be winning.
Yeah, no, that's exactly right. Crest, they played the philosophy of their strategy to perfection right at the end there, right? They realized even though they lost a player nice and early, it wasn't exactly critical to how they were playing it. They still had what they needed to hold strong on the bomb site. They had the Warden still in play for when that kitchen hatch execute came through. Even though CAG tried to opt to go for dirt pressure instead, Suzy had unfortunately missed that little crouch hole that he tried to make for his teammates. So that pressure couldn't come through. As a result, it was a very disconnected attack for Cyclops. All that Crest needed to do was play the disciplined and cautious game, and that's exactly what they did to convert that round. Now we're going to go over back to gym and bedroom, which was a failed attempt for Crest, but once again, they're changing it up and putting more pressure and more control on that bomb site with those mirror windows. They really,
Attackers have
really do
discovered the
not want
location
to
of a bomb.
enable a
10
CAG
seconds
player
to
to
go.
just jump into the bomb site through a window and put that pressure on early, and
5 seconds to
hopefully with
go.
those mirror windows facing all the critical entry points, they're going to be able to deny
Attackers
Crest from
are
doing
moving
that.
to defuse a bomb.
2-1. It's been probably the story of this semi-final, Mandy, hasn't it? You think back to Labs, you think to Chalet. Really, at no point have we seen either of these two teams get such an extended advantage. I think the highest round differential has been like +3.
Yeah.
Not even maybe even that. So it's just been such a back and forth height affair. If it really gets down to the last couple of rounds, if we get to that 5-5 situation, Cyclops historically don't do too well in those moments. That's where there's going to be some questions. They won't want to deal with that. Perfect start to attacking rounds. Got to now sort of compound this. Get to 3, get to 4, really make life difficult for Crest.
For sure, if you're Cyclops here, you really want to run away with that momentum. This is such a momentum-driven game. Like you were saying, it doesn't feel like anyone can pick it up. Interesting switch here for Anaton. Even though the Monty is banned, he still does have one shield in play in the form of the Blitz. I wonder where they're going to use that. So right now, it just seems like they're in thinking phase, right? There are 3 players on the roof. All of them are on drones at the moment. They're thinking, okay, do we use the Blitz and run straight into the bomb site? Or do we use the Blitz now that we've got cache open and go in there instead? They've just seen all of the players actually fall back into the bomb site. They've completely given up cache. So there goes CAG. They go, all right, we have an opening now inside of cache, and they're really going to start to migrate towards the point of least resistance.
Lua, does he sort of smell what's coming here? Gas babe fades. 2 more for Choppy. Only 1 drone left, Mandy. So in terms of drone denial from Crest, it's been spot on. 1 last little drone in play in terms of information. They don't need a lot of it, though. They know where Crest are going to be held up. You've got to clear Allo. You've got to clear site. You've got to clear positions like top main, and especially the back of logistics. Whiskey, this is an interesting position. This is where drones do come in handy, though, and they don't have any, bar 1.
This is well read by Whiskey.
Wow.
There is no way that they're going to spot that he's in there for sure. It's going to be all on Cyclops to go for this part as it starts to come through. The Blitz in play. He actually does get spotted out. Whiskey taken down, but man advantage still for Crest.
Yeah, because Whiskey got at least 1. So 1 for 1, not too bad. Now makes it a 3 versus 3. 1 of which is a Blitz. So, I mean, not really too much firepower there. Claire just sits inside the gym. They haven't cleared him. They have not cleared him. He's good for 1 surely on the gym window. He is. Got traded, though, by Chibisu. 2 versus 2. No utility remaining for Crest. 20 seconds. Flash out from Anaton. Wants to get this diffuser down. Oh, what a shot from Arkali, though. Another one, top main. He got them both. It's another attacking round win for Cyclops. Just starting to believe that they can get the job done here.
It's looking really nice here from Cyclops. Their mid-round thinking time truly paid dividends as they went in for the execute, right? They spent so much time keeping Crest guessing through the mid-round, making them wondering what they're going to do. Both walls were open. There was Cache wall open and there was Jacuzzi wall open. But Crest made the decision to consolidate their resources back in towards the bomb site, bring back all those roamers, give up that space. But Cyclops knew exactly what was going on because they had so much info going out there. As soon as that point of weakness opened up for them, they made full use of it. They sent in their blitz through there. And even though Crest made an attempt at playing off angles, knowing that there wasn't much info left for them, it didn't work because of how well Cyclops were able to brute force their way into the bomb site off the back of Anaton on the blitz.
Any other team, any other region, and you might be probably starting to count those eggs before they hatch. Cyclops up 3-1, 3 attacking rounds at that as well on Clubhouse of all maps. The history is history for a reason, Mandy, and it's the reason why they cannot count those chickens. 3-1, but still a lot of work to be done, and Crest have shown resilience so far in this series. They have, both on Labs, both on Chalet. I think back to Chalet, they were down 5-3, they won 4 rounds in a row. And probably at a point where maybe the expectations weren't there for them to do so. But regardless of all that, these next 2 rounds in front of them are incredibly important. They cannot allow any more attacking rounds to go the way of Cyclops.
They are showing a lot of grit so far in this series, but look at this from McCully. He's actually got complete info on the position of Lua on the other side. He has just fallen off back into that bathroom area. There is a mirror window at his disposal, so here we go for CAG, realizing that there's nothing to really be protecting this breach other than the mirror window, which is not manned by someone on the other side. They can get that open for free. Meanwhile, the rest of the attackers, seeing the resistance that has gone over on Connor, actually choosing not to clear it at all. They're not putting any pressure down there. They fully rotated off it. I can only imagine now that they're going to turn their attention towards this garage position instead. They're realizing all the resource on the other side is not something that we want to deal with, so let's pick something else and go for a plan B.
Minute 40. They've typically had early contact fights in a lot of these rounds to start this half. Not so much here. Triple stack outside garage still. Lua with a bit of a lurk over towards bathroom. Now 90 on the vault out. Has a mirror window there as well. Maybe anticipating a bit more of a sweep across round. Does he, though, get bait into this? What a shot! So Addison caught on the rappel outside garage, and suddenly that lifeline, that spark of hope that we saw back on Chalet and at various times on Labs has returned for Crest through that kill. 60 seconds left, down a player for Cyclops. One of the rounds where they've just been stalled out. The attack momentarily has been paused, and that's another nice kill for Cyrenaico. I don't see much more room to move here for Cyclops other than a slow walk up rafters, hope for the best, and maybe that best might just come from Chibisu. After getting the kill onto Eclair, has allowed the ability to push in from rafters into potentially a default plant now for Suzu. If they can get that down, you've got the breach, you've got Black Ray outside. Dangerous moment here for Crest.
Cyclops as well. They look so ready here to go for this execute onto the cash side of the balcony. But look at this for Crest. They're all starting to come back towards the bomb site. That smoke lands perfectly for the player of Whiskey. The floods come through, but it doesn't quite land. And there it goes. Crest finally able to claim a defense.
Yeah, and as you said, that gas bay was the reason why Suzu had to get off the plant, pushed forward, understand that they were going to be aggressive, tried to get a couple of shots in towards Cash, got one, couldn't get the second, and the pressure was just too much in the end. So 3-2. And while Cyclops have been able to get some really strong attacking rounds, I think at this point you can just throw map advantages and map halves all out the window at this point, Mandy. You're this deep into a semi-final where the winner goes to a major. It's all irrelevant at this point. Teams have collapsed on Defense Clubhouse before in the past. It wouldn't be the first time. You need to get as many rounds as possible for safety reasons. Church Arsenal, one last time in this half. Crest desperately would be wanting to get to 3 rounds going into their own attacking half.
And 3-3 would just be so characteristic of the series so far, don't you think so, Jake? Like every single map, I think we've been treated to a near even first half. It really comes down to just how that second half flips, who carries the momentum through those final 4 rounds. And really here for Crest, like you said, if they do not match this 3-3 half, especially going down to basement, especially with how much they're leaning into this bomb site being such a stronghold for the defenders. They've even brought Kaid this time around to slow down the attack of CAG even more, who, by the way, has been playing a rather slow attack so far in this matchup. I can only have hope for us.
Hope's not going to be enough, though, to get you to a major. You're going to have to do the hard yards. Fairness to Crest, they've been able to do so throughout this series. It's a reason why we are into this 3rd map. I think it's fair to say they've probably never been closer to a major. But so much work still to be done, it actually feels like they've probably not really that close to it at all. And in some ways, you can't really think about it either. You just have to stay focused in the game, in the server, for what's ahead of you. Cyclops as well, that same sentiment rings out for them. So 4 on site, trying to find the 5th. I think I may have seen one above. And I'd like to see a little bit more of that from Crest. It's the last round of the half. You can't place too safe, man. Just because he's down 3-2. You need to, especially on Church Arsenal, can you get some presence, secret, main stairs, at least try and swing up, go for a counterpunch. If they're clearing kitchen, can you get someone to maybe find a kill or 2? You sit on site, you leave yourself quite vulnerable for the late round execution from Cyclops.
Yeah, so what they're doing here is they're really trying to lean into the fact that Cyclops play the slow game, right? Like so far, Cyclops have taken up like essentially the full round to amount their executes, and they're really hoping that they can lean into that for this one as well. Of all things, it is basement, so if there is the bomb site to do it, it is this one. But it's looking a lot better for Cyclops, like you're pointing out. They are getting this checklist done rather quick. They are stunted by a little bit of resistance though here on the kitchen hatch, but finally it'll surely be open eventually from Suzu. He's gotten a little finicky with it. Actually, he's only got 2 Hubana charges left, so this has got to land if they want that kitchen hatch to be open. I think it will be. Crowley, meanwhile, has got pressure down the main stairs as well.
Oh.
Not just pressure, but the pick as well. He can surely be good for the second. Taking down almost Claire now with a slither of HP. Suzu, though, he's going to be taken down on the other side. That's Chupasu, actually. And the man advantage is completely evened out.
Yeah, and Triple completely opened up, so a lot of sightlines being discovered now towards Church. Anderton to get the plan down. Water, Nitrocell from Eclair, but Whiskey loses his life. It is now only Eclair left, and he knows there's a player above. It's another successful attack for Cyclops. And for the first time in this series, pressure really mounting, unfortunately for Crest. I think they're starting to maybe feel as if this could be slipping away. Their moment, their time to go to a major. Eclair in a 1 versus 2 and a retake though. When he hasn't got Vert, he has to get on it. And at this point, he has to stick it. He has to just pray that they make a mistake, but Cyclops do not. 4 attacking rounds in a 3rd map decided to go to the major. What a time to rise to the occasion for Cyclops. We switch sides. 3 defensive clubhouse rounds away from going to Atlanta.
This is looking very good for Cyclops, even though it is the tale of 2 halves, like we say. Cyclops are really starting to run away with this momentum. They look so confident on their attack, which is not that characteristic here on Clubhouse. They've just done such a good job of every single bomb site they attempted to play the slow game and dissect the bomb site. It was really a measure-twice, cut-once approach from Cyclops, especially going down to that basement. We never saw them attempt the same attack 3 times. Every single time they sent their drones in through the late round and really thought long and hard about the perfect execute to go for. And as we saw at the end, their triple wall was the point of weakness there in the Crest defense. They didn't want to get that kitchen hatch drop to work because they had that pressure and they had the pick that came down from the bottom main stairs, right? So Cyclops have just done such a good job at identifying the weakness of Crest, and it has really rattled them.
And while it may have rattled them, Crest have shown resilience and grit, as you said earlier in that first half, throughout this series. Is this a task too far gone for them, though? They need, at minimum, 4 attacking rounds on Clubhouse against Cyclops. It would honestly, in my mind, enter throw territory from CAG, as much as you probably hate to hear it. That's the predicament right now for Crest, and CAG straight away holding very commanding positions with Black Grey posted up in secret and Arkali deep in towards blue. Black Grey thinks better of it, maybe gets a bit too much sound cue and footsteps heard and falls back away from this position. This first round probably feels like the most important one. I've said it a couple of times now, Mandy, but we're not really seeing too many 3-round differentials in this series. Cyclops looking to find it here.
This is a rather peculiar attack, though, for Crest as they begin their launch into this second half. They have forced most of the anchors to fall back onto the bomb site, so there's not a lot of ground floor pressure anymore for Cyclops. What they do have to worry about, of course, is if they do want that kitchen pressure, there is 2 C4s in the hands of Cyclops. Not only that, but it's aided by info as well. Black Grey could be in a world of pain as that Candela rings true, but it doesn't blind him.
First shot to go out, and it's Whiskey. It's a skeleton key. Would not put down that as the more likely event to happen. And Sireneko actually gets the kill onto Arkali. Are you serious what I'm seeing right now? I can't believe it before my very eyes. But Mandy, do I see it? 5 versus 1, and it's an attacking onslaught from Crest. And maybe, just maybe, a statement that this is not going to be a freebie.
No way.
Yes, this is cute from Anderton. It's very cute. But he has to deny the plant. And it's only 1 of 5 needed. Crest make a statement to start this second half that it's not going to be all that easy for Cyclops on the defense.
Absolutely not for Crest. That was a very well formulated attack onto the basement, as we saw the dirt pressure that came out two players there to double down on that position. Not just that, but it was in tandem with a blue push that worked to perfection as well. Cyclops had actually dedicated a lot of their resource over on that ground floor, and even though the Valk cams were up, there was actually no one on the other side of the attack to meet them, right? And so as a result, they weren't quite clued into the fact that actually Crest were ready to hit the bomb site straight away. That absolutely caught them off guard at a very strange tempo through the mid-rounds and collapsed their way onto the bomb site. The gunfights that they needed to make work did go their way, especially the ones that had occurred inside of blue and inside of dirt, and that pinch onto the bomb site was the medicine that Crest needed to stem the bleeding.
Well, Drake, once again, we don't really see that sort of round differential extend out. And again, what's been that very common theme in this semi-final is the hope for Crest never fades. They're never looking like they're quite out of it. Sure, at 4-2 and after 4 attacking rounds, maybe for the first time in this series, it felt like Cyclops were just starting to edge out. And guess what? A response immediately from Crest. I think by now, Cyclops well and truly are aware that this is going to go down to the wire. That this spot to go to the major from this region is certainly up for grabs. Said it earlier, at the conclusion of Chalet, nothing is giving to these teams. They have to earn it. Anderton with a lurk down towards basement, maybe expecting a little bit more of a longer entry through dirt. Won't probably hold this for too long. And they've got the Valk cams up above. Surely this is not going to be the moment the CAG fall and stumble on their way to the major to return to the big leagues. Not since Jonkoping at the end of 2022 have we seen this team in a major. At the moment, it's just roof control for Crest. They've got a lot of time. They'll now look to open up Jacuzzi, which will be very comfortable to do so with that Thatcher in play.
Exactly like you said, they want to play this minigame over on the Jacuzzi wall. Suzu's on the other side to try and trick it, but surely not. I reckon that Kaid... Oh, actually, that Kaid might have just gone out in time, but the second EMP is there to counter. It's really well played there from Crest to start opening up this round. But hang on a moment, they've just flooded their way into Jim.
4 versus 4. Black Ray loses his life. The flood has worked. It's overwhelming against Cyclops. It's a 4-2 advantage for looking to be their second attacking round. And right from the hatch, Arkali just completely caught napping and unaware of his surroundings. Anaton dies top main. They need attack timeout. They need to discuss this, and they take it. And Crest are making this their moment. What are we seeing unravel before our very eyes? It's 4-4, and it's an attacker-sided club, Mandy.
It is ridiculous what we are seeing at the moment from both of these two teams. Like you're saying, they do not give up. Both of these teams are so relentlessly pushing against each other. Really, we can only see this game round by round, Jake. I don't know. I'm done with predicting how this one is going to go, because every single time we see something different from the attack, Crest in their attacking half just have been absolutely impressive in these last 2 rounds. Both times they have really changed the tempo against Cyclops. They've kept them guessing, and they've taken opportunities in the blink of an eye. It feels like the rounds just turn on a dime when we are watching Crest fight their way through the map. Any small opportunity that they get, they immediately inject a player inside there, which is so different to the way that we saw Cyclops attack. Cyclops did this really slow, measured kind of approach to the map, but Crest aren't bringing anything like it.
We've played 8 rounds of club. 6 of them have gone to attacking teams. It's incredible to honestly contemplate that that's the reality of the situation. But Cyclops, Mandy, if they lose from a 4-round attacking half, unfortunately, that choke tag is even further cemented, certified, unfortunately, for this roster. The beauty of this region, though, is you do get the double chance. If you lose this match, you go into the last chance qualifiers. But I tell you what, the loser of this match, they will be heartbroken at the end of it. Crest are 3 rounds away from heading to their first ever major. Never done it, never been there. They've got an opportunity and may never be closer to doing so. For Cyclops, it's all about the return. They missed out for Copenhagen. And we thought maybe they'd turned a corner. Very dominant group stage. Awaited the winner of Crest and Exist.
5 seconds left.
Got their map pick of Nighthaven and won it. Since then, it's all been Crest bringing it back. 2 attacking rounds to start this half. And it's a tactical timeout that now has expired and the round is back on. And Cyclops need to find this round. Otherwise, I fear nothing but doom for them.
You have to wonder what Cyclops was talking about in that tactical timeout. There is not one thing that you can point towards Crest and say, fix that problem. No, Crest have done something pretty spectacular in these last 2 rounds, right? They have been so good at just finding a hole in the Cyclops defense and just catching them off guard with the timing. So if you're Cyclops in that tactical timeout, what is it for? Maybe it's just to try and regain the focus of that team. These guys really need to be on the ball. They need to be way sharper in having a better read on this Crest attack because they can't keep getting caught off guard like that.
Into the 9th round, drone down towards Lounge for Lure. Drone game from Crest has actually been pretty strong. Not seeing Cyclops really get sort of on top of it. Of course, no Solus banned out by Cyclops. We're seeing Anaton now onto the Echo as well, so looking for maybe some late round denial. I think at this point they're just going to just bunker down inside. And is that not just a sign of defeatism? A little bit. When you're basically bunkered on site, you're picking the Echo, the Azami, the Warden, you want to set site, you don't contest above. Off the back of a tactical timeout, this is something that they've essentially planned for, commed for.
Yeah, that's exactly right for CAG, right? They've gone into their tactical timeout and gone, we're losing the early game. As soon as Crest get inside of the building, they find their opportunity within like a few seconds into the round, then that gets capitalized on instantly. So Cyclops have decided the way to go and the way to approach against Crest is don't give them anything in the early game and lean into the late game instead. And like you're saying, they're completely giving up the map as a result. They're giving full respect to Crest because they don't want to be caught off guard to any of their shenanigans anymore.
Well, there's a lot of running around. That shield goes down just as Arkali decided to station into that position. And it's Black Ray that lost his life early. Lure, what's a shot? Was that through the hatch? I think it might have been on the angle. Drop down. No, it's from Moto. Incredible. Can he find a second? It would make life... Oh, he's white and he still gets the headshot. He just spotted Chibisu turning the corner as soon as that Candela went out. 2 kills again for Crest. CAG through Suzu with a massive roam. The flank, and now down through Secret, can come back to site and help out. Above, though, is Choppy. Candela's through the stock hatch. It's Anaton that responds to. Diffuser down. CAG fighting back. Tooth and now, but they've lost 2. Down to just Arkali. At the back of Arsenal now at a 1 versus 2 with Choppy low on the Ying and out of Candela's. He steps up to the plate, but he falls at the 1 versus 1. 13 seconds, and Whiskey has to plant. Needs to commit the ping. Arkali. He makes a noise. Whiskey's out of time! He's messed it up, Mandy! In a moment... Oh, he saves it! Why would you peek that, Arkali? You don't need to peek! Watch as he stands up! And watch as Whiskey sits him down! Crest have got themselves ever closer to a major position! 3 rounds in a row!
You have to admire the tenacity of Crest through these rounds. When it looks so dire, they pull something out of the hat. Whiskey can tuck in that final player to just tip that round on its head for Crest as they are able to land what is a pretty incredible attack onto the defense of Cyclops. It felt like Cyclops had the read on Crest, right? Don't play the early game, lean to the late game, and then pick your battles. That's exactly what we saw Cyclops try and do there. The retake came up from Suzu. It felt like such a good idea. The Warden even played into the Ying. That felt like a good idea from Cyclops. But Crest are absolutely relentless. It feels like the luck is on their side at the moment. The timing is on their side, and they are playing this to perfection. There's just tiny micro decisions that are going their way that Cyclops cannot quite get on top of just yet.
Some say Cyclops CAG is Cyclops Athlete Gaming. I think at this point, it's CAG is choking again. From a 4-2 lead with 4 attacking rounds won on Clubhouse of all maps. Crest have now responded with 3 attacking rounds of their own. They are now 2 rounds away from causing an absolute upset, a storm in this Japanese region. For a Cyclops side that look poised to return to the majors. They now look poised to bow out. And the ridicule that would follow if they lose from here. Cash and CCTV is their option. It is their choice in this 10th round. We'll see if it can pay them back some favor to tie this game up at 5-5.
So once again, we can see Cyclops here playing an incredibly cautious game. All four, I think it's 5 if you count the one on Rafters, players back inside of the safety of the bomb site. They're rearranging this to make sure that they are ready for the push to come through. A Ying Candela to go up, but it's a bit of a bluff from Crest as they don't capitalize on it just yet. The pressure is going on though from con side. They've identified that all of the Cyclops players have fallen back onto the bomb site. They've seen that, and they've seen that it's a point of weakness that they can exploit. So Eclair's going to get in with that thermite, and he can try and get that wall open. The thing they have to worry about, of course, is Anaton, who's potentially tricking the wall on the other side. Actually, at the moment, he is looking towards that Kennel's breach. So if they find the timing right here, they could get open the con wall.
Well, no initial pick, but as we've been seeing the last couple of rounds, Crest, just their sheer aggression on site has been such a benefit for them. Looking to open up that con wall, and I think Eclair should be able to do so now. That nade, perfection. Early kill again! Akali falls again. Con wall, once again, though, has been reinforced with a shock wire. Minute left, so still hasn't been dealt with, but they at least got a kill. It's not a bad little trade. Candela's still available for Choppy 3. In fact, Eclair now turns his attention towards that CCTV window. Mandy, 3 rounds, they've just brute forced their way in. Anaton! Double kill Nitrocell! Just in a moment when maybe the tide was going the way of Crest, he turns it back. And the Rafters position still under lock and key by Suzu. Choppy, Candela needs to follow off it, has one more, headshots there onto Anaton. He can't find it though. Cyclops respond. They do not want that choking mantle, they don't want that noise. They want to change that perception about them as a team. And an impromptu 20-second timeout for Crest here as they think about what they need to do in the next round, in the 11th round, at 5-5, because Cyclops have responded.
This is a big turning point now for both of these teams on 5-5, as Dev likes to call it, break point. This could send someone into match point. It's not just match point of the series though, it's major point, right? And so this next round is a massive pivotal point in this game so far. They really need to take this time to slow down, regroup, and have a think about what they want to do next, because every single round plays out so situationally. There is not a single point in the round in the early game where you can point at a team and say they are going to win it. You have to wait until about like a minute and a half into the round, and even then you don't know what can happen. Even then the round can turn on a dime between these two teams. It's about these tiny small interactions that go the right way that these guys need to keep track of, and that requires so much focus.
So gym bedroom is where we go in the 11th round. If Cyclops win this, they'll then head downstairs to Church and Arsenal to close it out. That is a daunting task for Crest. Although they did win it, obviously the last time it was played, it was a very close one, Mandy. It's not as if it was super comfortable. Came down to a 1v1 with 5 seconds left in red time. And honestly, a slight little error. The reason why Crest were able to probably get that round. So into break point, as Dev likes to term it. And he's not wrong. In this case, it could be heartbreak at the end of this round for one of these two teams, as the other will get match point, major point, and you might just have that sort of sinking feeling. You know that feeling in your stomach when you just feel like it could be your moment that slips away from you. If you lose this round, it will be such a nerve-wracking 12th round afterwards. You want this point. You want match point. You want OT, at the very least, confirmed.
In the absence of rounds, what you need is grit. What you need is persistence, right? And like you're saying, that is what is going to be necessary for the team that goes down here. It is going to be over in gym and bedroom, and no pressure put out so far on the side of Crest. It does look like they are going to look for that map sweep so far. CAG, once again, are playing a very pulled back defense. They aren't dedicating too much of that resource over onto the other side of the map. Meanwhile, the rest of Crest are trying to play the unpredictable game. Yes, Cash Wall is open, but it does look like they're starting to rotate some of those players over on top of Lochi and in towards Jacuzzi. Just keep Cyclops guessing, right? You do not want to give away your push. You do not want to telegraph what you want to do, and that is the name of the game for Crest.
So OP kill goes the way of Akali. Decent start for Cyclops. Probably just stems the nerves a little bit, doesn't it? Knowing that Crest have been able to do so well attacking here into club. You give them the plaudits and you certainly give them the respect, especially if you are Cyclops. You're certainly not taking them lightly at this point. Top red, big battle here. Lua has been a very impactful player for Crest. Certainly one of note that he can hit those important entry shots. Oh, a little bit of a moment through the cash doorway into Con. Where's the help for Lua? Well, he's flashed himself, but he's into CCTV. So does get past that position, that little battle top red. Gumine out, can destroy that. Under a minute remaining, and Cyreneko just hoping someone makes a mistake. Same probably for Eclair outside the jacuzzi wall. But feels like for the first time this half, Crest have been really stalled out, Mandy.
It's about managing those micro interactions for both of these teams, right? None of them wants to make a mistake, but there it is. Cyreneko finally able to punish that player on the top of red stairs. That's Black Ray going down, and that's CC control now for the attacking side. They can start to make their sweep work, but with only 30 seconds left to go, they have to press this attack.
Next kill, so important. It comes through. Akali and Anaton will double it up. 4 versus 2. Outside on the balcony is Whiskey. Diffuser towards the breach of Jacuzzi, and that's another kill from Chubasu. Well, 3 different players find kills for Cyclops. They all stand up and rise to the occasion. And it seems as if it will be match point. Major point for Cyclops. Maybe this time they will not choke again. Maybe this time they will confirm it. It was 7-5 on Labs. It was 7-5 on Chalet. And as things stand, Cyclops are looking to close this out 7-5 on Club to head to Atlanta.
Cyclops played the positioning game to perfection in that last round. They played it with complete caution against Crest. They knew that Crest were encircling them through the map, trying their best to create an opening, but all they needed to do was hold strong in their positions. Don't get antsy. Don't walk past a window that you don't need to. Just hold on there and rely on your passive intel. The big turning point for me there was that play that the Legion was able to make, right? He was able to ensure that that con push was not going to come through. He had his mines down there. Not just that, but even Chiopi's attempt to come up the main stairs was denied by that passive intel. There was a set of barbed wire there that enabled the defense to get that swing off. So Cyclops now completely leaning into this cautious game. They're not going for picks. They're not going for rotates without knowing exactly what they're coming up against with Crest. They're not doing anything without info. They're not doing anything that isn't measured or calculated.
5 seconds left.
The question is for Crest, so much at stake. And you probably don't want to make mistakes. That's probably the first thought, but you can't almost trap yourself into thinking in that way. You can't think too defeatist. You can't think too defensive. Because what won them those early rounds in this half, Mandy, was their sheer aggression on attack of just rushing sight and hitting shots and snowballing and almost like this death ball. And Cyclops were just unable to stop it. If you now slow down because you are scared to make a mistake, that's going to be your downfall. And you look at Capitao and Grim and Bark, I don't see sort of fast operators here or fast entry. I see more of a setup, and then eventually you want to sort of clear out a position and drop down hatch. And I honestly think that might just be their downfall. I'm not saying you're going to get too over aggressive, but we'll see what happens. I think for Cyclops as well, because they've got OT confirmed, they can also probably play a little bit more aggressive now on the defense. They can go for something like a cheeky push-up main stairs, try and get a swing in towards Kitchen, maybe some plays towards Secret. They can definitely try and shut this round out before it even really begins, but at the moment, 5 on site. Not doing too much, and Crest will get at least some good amount of map control.
I do have to agree with what you said with the operator lineup that Crest have decided to bring, right? They've brought something along that's rather situational, right? These operators are only going to be good in a very particular type of execute, and it looks like they're trying to set that up, right? The challenge that they're going to face here is that there's such a stronghold for the defense of Cyclops. Like, how are they going to clear out the Azamis? Someone's got to shoot out those Yoko drones. There's no way they're going to be able to see that. It makes me wonder what kind of execute they're actually trying to plan for, because it looks rather specific. And I think it's going to be very hard to achieve.
Just over a minute remains from Cyclops returning to the major level. And for the heartbreak of Crest, open quals could very well await them, and they will be a dangerous team there, but they would love nothing more than to auto-qualify by making the grand final here in the Japan League. Both teams that make it go to the major. They will fight them for phase 2, phase 1. Shots go out, both sides taking some chip damage. It's Blackberry that comes off second best though, but technically by not falling, That already is a win for Cyclops. 40 seconds left, and we've seen this story play out many a time. It's a late drop, it's a late push, and it's the defense that typically wins, Mandy.
Located a bomb.
It's a 5-on-5 execute here in Clubhouse Basement. What more could you ask for to try and send Cyclops to the major? Here comes the utility, and here comes the flood.
Yeah, Flame bolts go out. Eclair got the opening kill, but as the drop does come through, you imagine they will lose some players here on the drop. Jibisu, big swing, double kill, headshots rain out. Another, it's all blue in the kill feed until just then. Whiskey and Choppy with a double. It's down to Anaton on the Echo, and that little drone to make one big play to send them to the major. He has to move it. Whiskey's on it. He has to be shot out. It's on! Anaton has done it! He has sent them to the major through a bloody drone! A yokai drone has sent Cyclops to the major. 7-5, 7-5, 7-5. Cyclops return to the peak of Siege once again.
Cyclops show why they are the titans of this region in the final round. It is in the small details, and that is finally where Cyclops can prevail on that final defending round that they needed to send themselves to